This video is about a game which I adore, and it is a game which fits into no other genre. It is called Kerbal Space Program, and it is a simulation of running a space program. And it is a free and open simulation where you get to do the one thing you would want to do if you're running a space program, that is build the spaceships, build the stages, organize them, design the equipment, and fire the rockets. You can play it in 3 different modes. There is career, where you have to get money, manage staff, build new buildings, and so on. To build bigger rockets to get more money, and it goes around in a circle. There is also the mode which I enjoy the most, which is science, where you do all of that, but you don't have to worry about the money or managing the people or getting the best pilots. Then there's another mode which is sandbox, which is where you do crazy things. Now, I mean crazy. I mean, you download mods, you can launch pieces of Deep Space Nine into space, you can do all kinds of crazy stuff you wouldn't think of. Another point thinking about it is you have to fly the spacecraft. Now, you're flying the thing you designed, so if the stage doesn't work, you have to go back and rework it. It is a time sinkhole that you enjoy sinking your time into. Me and my brother have played this game for a while, off and on. My brother's just got into it, and it is amazing. It is even great as a multiplayer game by just showing your friends your videos of the crazy, stupid rockets you've created. And the Kerbal Space Program isn't a full simulation. There are mods to make it a full simulation, but it is a scaled down simulation to make it easier. You don't need to know the science, but it helps. You don't need to know how to manage the stages, but it helps, but you can learn. You don't need to know how to build the rocket or how much thrust you need. You can just keep adding more and more booster engines till you fly out. I've done it before where I've added so many booster engines, my rocket has not only left Earth's orbit, but has gone right out into a greater solar orbit. Which is pretty hard to do, but I wouldn't say pretty hard. It's more like once you manage the speed to get out of Earth's orbit, it's not too much more to make it to the Sun's orbit. Sounds kind of crazy, but it's all based on the speed you're doing. You know, orbit is basically falling without losing any height. When you've got no resistance when you're in space, that's perfectly plausible. It doesn't take too much energy then to push you further out. And also the game does space planes. Now, I've got to say, I have not had any success at all with building, designing, or crashing planes. Now, I would say building, designing, or flying planes, but I have yet to fly one. Because, like you're seeing on the screen now, my worst designs or my best designs usually end up, you know, strewn out across the runway with a little dead Kerbonian lying in a cockpit somewhere. Or like this one where I've actually got 2 tail fins and didn't realise it. I think he actually survives this one. Good on you, Jebediah. And you know, the best part about this game is building the crazy rockets and flying them. It's why, if you're going to play it, I would suggest you start with sandbox mode for 10-15 minutes, then start on science mode when you've got a grasp of how to do the basic flight. It is a game like Elite Dangerous where I'd say doing the training is absolutely essential, because if you can see on the left hand side there, what I'm doing and organising is a lot of fun. But you got to know what you're doing with it. And as you can see, I possibly don't have enough power to lift that off. Now, because 80% of most of the thrust you use is to propel the rocket you're on, the rocket booster you actually have, you can see that you need a lot of boosters to get something quite heavy into space. That's a rather heavy satellite. And the best part about this game is the repeat play. You can go back again and again and again and again. You can look at other people's videos. You can look at other people's schematics. They have a new expansion where you can share your rockets with other people, which I think is fantastic. And I will be buying that with my brother. We're just waiting to exhaust what we've got so far. Some of the add-ins we've played with, like the Star Trek ones and some Star Wars add-ins, which give you different components from different ships. The Star Trek one gives you warp drive, which I tried to use in the atmosphere and killed 3 Kerbonians in the process. I'm going to call them Kerbonians because I really don't know what you call people from Kerbal. Kerbonian sounds correct as far as my English understanding of the Latin pretense would, subtext would imply. Subtext, no, subcategory. I don't know how you to categorize people. I can't remember the terminology for it. Anyway, I think the best thing about this game is the crashes, because that's how you learn. The crashes are how you work out what you're doing and how you work out what you're doing wrong. Is 3 engines enough on your plane? Is 64 solid rocket fuel boosters too many? Does that part of Deep Space Nine that starts 1 kilometer up in the air, how many rockets does it need to get into orbit? And once in orbit, how hard is it to dock with it? These are all things you need to find out. And that's the fun thing. I would suggest this as an educational tool, because as an educational tool it covers aerodynamics, weight, thrust, planetary physics, rocket science at a very basic level. And you don't need to know rocket science to do this, but it helps. All of the figures are there if you want to research them. The newtons, kilonewtons, meganewtons of each rocket, how much it weighs, what the leftover thrust capability is after moving its own mass. It's all there. And even aerodynamics of jet engines with rockets on and planes. As you can see, I'm not very good at flying those. Anyway, so give Kerbal Space Program a try if you're in the mood. I'd say I've never regretted buying this game. It's a relatively cheap one. It was on a Humble Bundle recently. It can be had from game shops between $5 and $10. It really is worth that amount of money. It is a lot of fun. It is something you'll be surprised how many hours you can place into it. And you know, popping a space station up into orbit and trying to dock with it is an incredibly difficult thing to work out how to do. And it does make it really interesting to run through a program like this, which gives you the opportunity to do those things. There are tools to help you do that, to make it a lot easier, but it is just a lot of fun building crazy, insane rockets that would never work in real life. And look at all that scaffolding I left on the bottom of that one. Please rate, comment, and subscribe.